Well, it's that time of the year again. You've all been demanding, you've all been asking for it in the comments section about every video this summer, and it's time. The kit connoisseur is back, and I'm going to rate every single Ladbrokes Premiership home kit for the 2019-20 season. There's some good ones, there's some bad ones. Overall, I don't believe it's a great year for kits. A few stinkers, but you know what, we're going to go through it anyway. The first two teams on the list, I could not find a kit anywhere, so if you're a fan of the first two teams, I'm sorry, I can't find a new kit for you, so you're right at the bottom. And if there is a kit, please let me know in the comments below. But I searched the internet far and wide and I couldn't find anything. Yes, label me with any sort of comment you like down in the down the comments, because I know some of you won't be happy, but it's my opinion, it's my channel. Like it or lump it. Anyway, here we go, right into the video. It's the top 12. I mean, I don't know it is 12. No, it's the rating the kits for 2019-20. So in 12th and 11th place, I've got Hamilton and Livingston, because I can't find a kit. And the rule is, every year, if you don't have a new kit, you go right to the bottom, no matter how nice it is. And I can't find one. So, you should let me down here. Hamilton and Livingston supporters, let me know if there's anything, but I can't see it. So here you are, joint bot. In 10th place, it is the newly promoted Ross County. This kit, it is disgusting. It is not a good return to the Premier League for the lads from Dingwall. It's a very, very disgusting kit. I am not a fan at all. It kind of reminds me of the pattern of a bus seat on the X19 that you'd get to the town, and I don't like it. I don't like it at all. So aye, this is the very bottom. What were you thinking? You might be a fan of it, I am certainly not, and it's very last. St Mirren comes in at number 9, 2 years in a row. I believe I've placed them very low on the list. I'm just not a fan of this kit. I don't know why. I feel like if you have got the vertical stripes on a kit, there should be more. You should really sort of exaggerate it. Maybe not to the point where you look like Sunderland's Carnival tent kit that they had a couple of years back, but just a little bit more than like 3 stripes. And the sponsor just doesn't suit. The kit maker, I'm not a fan of. I just believe it looks very cheap, very tacky, if you like to use that word. I do not like it, and it's very low on the list for me. St Mirren, you have been a letdown. You stayed in the league, you could have, exaggerated that a little bit more, and no, it's a disappointment for me, and it's low on the list. Number 8 is the last of the probably, I would say, bad tier of kits. This is the only kit that I absolutely hate as well on the list. The rest, it gets more up and better. It's St Johnstone. Once again, I feel like it's one of those kits that just looks cheap, and I don't know if it's just to do with the kit supplier, the kit maker. I don't know if it's just that, but it just looks very cheap, and it doesn't feel like a Premiership team should be wearing the kit. It feels like somebody at Sunday League level should be wearing it. And even that, you see Sunday League teams with better kits than this, so it's a very, very bad kit in my eyes. It's just very bland, I know there is some sort of design going on through it, but I'm just not a fan of it. It doesn't appeal to me. It's not eye-catching or anything. It's just bland. It's just generic. It's poor looking. And in at number 7, I'm going with Aberdeen for their kit, one of the top teams in the league, of course, finishing 4th last season under Derek McInnes, and once again they'll be trying to get into European football. But the kit just, to me, doesn't seem too different. Obviously there's not a lot you can do with a home kit. You want to try and stick to tradition. It's like Celtic are always going to have green and white hoops, Aberdeen's always going to be a base red, but I don't feel like it's too different from the last couple of kits they've had. Adidas making quite a generic one here. I feel like you could slap any team that wears red onto the badge area of the kit and it would suit any team. I just don't feel like it has a lot of personality. It's a nice kit though. It's not horrible to look at. It's just a bit too bland, a bit too generic, and it's just a bit resemblant of the kits I've had over the last few years. So that's why I'm placing number 7. But this is the section where kits get better, I would say. So, do you know what? Number 7, Aberdeen. It's not a bad kit, just not too much flavour to it, if you like. Sound like fucking Guy Fieri. And at number 6, it's Hibernian, who have taken quite the slip from last year. I believe I placed them at number 1 on the kit list last year. It just went back to kind of, once again with Aberdeen, it's like, yeah, it's what you'd expect from a Hibernian home kit. It's nice, it's just quite normal, but it's not got a lot of personality to it. And last year the Hibernian home kit had a lot of personality. It was very different. It had that weird kind of patterned, what's the word again, gradient effect going on. And this year it's just went back to the normal green with the white sleeves. But I don't feel like there's much to it. They could have put something through it, a bit more design, something maybe on the collar and the sleeve trimmings or something. Just something to give it a bit more personality, make it pop a bit more. It's nice. but it's definitely lacking in comparison to the kit that they had last season. And there's my Xbox noise going off. But aye, number 6. This is where I believe we get into the actual good tier of kits. I believe this is the creme de la creme, as I've started using more recently, of kits. I think this is the good section, and Motherwell kick us off at number 5, something a bit different. I like it. Obviously, once again, with the home kits, you just get what you expect, but there's a bit of personality through this, and that's why I've got it hidden at number 5. Just something a little bit different, and for a kit maker, which I'm not a big fan of, they've actually produced quite a nice kit, and Motherwell hopefully looking for a better season than this. I think it's a kit Gogsy can be happy with. Gogsy, remember arguing in a chat or something, saying it was better than the Celtic kit, but no, I'm not placing it better than that, because it's just not. I mean, I'm not a big fan of the colour scheme of Motherwell. I don't believe that the shade of yellow is that nice, especially with the maroon. I'm just not a fan of it, never have been, and that's why I probably never will place a Motherwell kit higher than, say, number 5. But do you know what? It's nice, it's got something to it, and I'm going to place it at number 5. Here goes the comment section, about to blow up. Number 4, we have got the Rangers home kit. Yes, I am biased as fuck. I will never place the Rangers home kit above a Celtic home kit, unless, you know, Celtic's home kit doesn't have hoops through it, unless they've disastrously changed it. It's never going to happen for me, and yes, be angry all you like. But even at that, I do believe Celtic have a nicer kit, but I will talk about the Rangers kit. It is nice, it's an upgrade on last year's, definitely. Hummel, I believe, is a horrible kit maker. I laughed when Rangers signed with them. But this year, you know what, it's actually not too bad. It's got a little bit of a retro feeling to it, and I'm a big fan of retro kits. Not a big fan of Rangers kits, so it's only getting number 4. Surprise, surprise, I'm not a big fan of Rangers kits. They've got the kind of crest going through the shirt or whatever, the stripe effect going on, nice trimmings on the sleeves and such. It's got a retro feel, and as soon as you have a retro feel, you're going to be higher on my list. So Hummel, do you know what? It's no bad. It's a good attempt, and it's an upgrade from last year. Number 4, yes, you're unhappy. At number 3, it is the controversial Celtic kit, one that split a lot of opinions. When it was first released this season, the first images that came through, a lot of people weren't happy that the sleeves were broken, the hoops were broken on the sleeves. A lot of people just didn't think it was the nicest of the New Balance kits. It's the last season Celtic are with New Balance, so it's the last one to expect from them. I don't know if that makes you happy or not, but honestly, in person, I believe this kit is very smart, very nice. It looks clean, it looks professional. It's what you'd expect from a top flight side, and I'm a big fan of it. So do you know what? Celtic kit being at number 3, I'm not too biased. But it's above Rangers, I suppose. I would say it's above Rangers kit. I really like this kit. I love the Celtic Dalek with the collar. So I'm placing it quite high on the list. You might not agree with me. Some Celtic fans do not like this kit, but when you see it in person and you wear it yourself and you don't see it through an image, it looks fantastic, superb, and it's one of the nicest that I think we've produced in, say, the last 15 years since kits have become modernised. Everything fits nicely, and I like the wee black. Number 2 is KILMARNOCK, who do not have a blue and white striped home kit. It is very, very different. It is not the normal home kit that KILMARNOCK produced. They are celebrating their 150th anniversary and have decided to do that by going back to a kit which resembles their first ever kit, apparently, and that is with this, and it is so nice. I think it's a really nice kit, made by Nike, who I don't believe have produced a lot of nice kits over the last few years for a lot of teams, but this one is really nice, and it's obviously something very different for KILMARNOCK. They are retaining the blue and white striped kit as their third kit, and it is the home kit from last season. They did wear it the other day in Europe, but this is the new home kit, and obviously it's only a one season thing. They will return to the blue and white stripes, but this is really nice and it's really different, and it has that classic feel to it, not so much retro, more classic, and it's meant to have that feeling because it's an 150th anniversary kit, but it's really nice, and I think it does deserve to be in number 2 in the list. Very nice. Which finally brings us to the number 1 spot, and actually, now that looking back, is the second consecutive year Hearts have finished number 1 on my list. No, I'm not a Hearts fan in disguise, I fucking hate them, but a very nice home kit, and for the second year in a row, Umbro knocking it out the park. I can only dream Celtic will sign with Umbro as kit makers. Umbro producing the nicest kits in Europe, without a shadow of a doubt. Once again, that retro feel, the Umbro logo kind of shattered and broken throughout the kit. Very nice, and I'm just a big fool for it. I'm a big fool for it, and maybe it's just biased towards the Umbro kits, but I don't care, it is such a nice kit, and it fits very nicely with the maroon colour scheme. It looks good, and you know what, 2 years in a row, deservingly, I would say Hearts finish at number 1 in the kit video. Well done Hearts, you've took the prize again. Can you swallow it up next year? So that does it then, that is the kit video for 2019-20, rating the home kits from 12 to 1 in the Scottish Premiership. If you have enjoyed, make sure to hit like and subscribe. I really do enjoy these videos, and it seems you guys do as well. If you think I'm biased, let me know. Give me all the abuse you like in the comments. I enjoy it. But aye, as I said, like and subscribe, and I'll see y'all next time.